This is the CHRILLCAST Live. I am Chris.
I'm Andrew.
And I'm Will.
And today we're going to tell you what things you should definitely not buy. No, we're going to tell you what things you can buy and what things you can't buy. Well, you can buy anything you want. It's your money. But we're going to tell you things that you should and should not buy for the holidays for gamers in your life. Mm-hmm. And we are live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Because, of course, Twitter.
One. All right. Game fuel.
As
Andrew said, vitamin D.
Yes.
First I don't know if that's the vitamin D he meant.
Yeah. No. The thing you should get every kid is a Google Stadia.
Oh.
That's a joke. It's a joke. Please don't do that. Your kids will hate you.
No. Okay. So we want this to be as all-encompassing as we can make it, in the span of time that we have to record this podcast. Because I could probably talk about what to buy and what not to buy for hours. But we're just going to kind of focus in and actually do a podcast without, all the side stories that we normally have in this podcast. So, And more to come in the future. I think at the turn of the year, we may have some new things, maybe a bonus podcast, that kind of stuff. Because you're just red and green.
That's awful.
It's your hat.
I specifically didn't wear a red shirt, so it wouldn't freak out. But
it's your hat. Well, it's your hat.
All right, so we're going to start with, because I have the ultimate power here. No, I'm just kidding. But we're going to start with consoles. Ooh, Doctor's Office is here. Hopefully his Halo Xbox is holding up well, or the one he gave to his brother, I believe. But anyways, shout out to Doctor's Office. Been a while. Consoles for the holidays. All right. Let's say your kid's coming in the room and they want to buy a console or want you to buy them a console for the holidays. What should you get them?
I know what Andrew's going to say, but it depends. Are they asking for a specific console? Yeah. Because obviously you get them that one.
Whatever they ask
for. What's the generic console to buy this holiday? Which one do you just buy?
Oh, it's so difficult.
No,
I disagree. It's super easy.
That's easy.
Switch.
It is the Switch.
I mean, if you don't already have it, I think it's plateauing. But if you don't already have it,
most games available.
Depends on what games they want.
Yeah.
Well,
probably the cheapest games across the board.
Well, it's the cheapest console to buy. It's the most interactive for if you have multiple kids who might be
comes with two controllers
together.
In the box, technically speaking.
It's the most making your living room a fun zone console you could buy. So if you're a family with multiple children, probably buy the Switch.
I can go along with that. Yeah,
Switch, Mario Kart, Smash Bros. Good to go.
Strikers. They've come out with. Strikers. They keep coming out with new ones. You got the tennis as well. So
yeah, especially if you have multiple kids, the Switch is like a no-brainer. If you don't already have
the cheapest games, but yeah.
No,
you get the most out of those games.
You can get the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy for like $15.
You can get down any console.
Switch. I'm just saying, Switch games are getting cheaper finally.
But also, you can't discount the fact that none of the other consoles are as playable with your children.
No, it's true. Switch. Yeah, it's definitely more of a party console. It's more like a kid-friendly console.
And it's also parents aren't good at video games friendly console too.
Yes,
just throwing that out there. Easiest, it's the lowest learning curve to play every game.
And there's also RC cars that you can get for.
And it's portable, so it's easy to play on the couch, and they're not disturbing you while you're trying to watch a movie or something like that.
And you can bring it in the road.
And on the road, yeah.
And I just upgraded to the newest version of the Switch. Got the OLED model.
I figured you'd bring that up.
No, just hear me out. You can finally play on tabletop nicely with this new kickstand they added. It's actually a really nice kickstand. I was very happy with it.
Okay.
Oh, way better. It's like the Switch not Switch. I'm sorry. The Surface tablet. It's the same.
I have never used that kickstand.
I have twice with the old one, but it was just so wobbly that it was not really worth it. But with the new one, I've used it more than I thought I would.
Yeah, no, that's actually a legitimate kickstand.
It really is. It makes actually a huge difference.
It's an indictment on Nintendo that they designed the original one.
The OLED also has an Ethernet port now, doesn't it?
The dock does. So that's one thing I learned. Tip for anybody getting this: if you want to use the Hori Split Pad Pro controllers, it doesn't fit in the new dock. So I actually, when I sold my existing Switch, my older Switch, I sold it with the new dock because I don't need the Ethernet in the first place. Don't care about it, and it doesn't fit in that dock with the Hori Split Pad Pro. So just tip for anybody that has the Hori Split Pad Pro and likes it, it won't fit in the new dock.
Yeah. Okay.
In other news, though, The new Joy-Cons, if you do get a new Switch model produced post OLED, so if you can find out when it was made, the new Joy-Cons do not suffer from stick drift like the old ones do. So good news there. I mean, I've never had the Joy-Con drift either, Will, so I can't speak from experience, but I know my brother-in-law has had some issues with it. Anyways, yeah, the no-brainer console is definitely the Switch. I think it's the easiest, most intuitive to set up for a parent. It's
cheapest.
The physical games, at least, are mostly family appropriate, and you can tell which ones
are. Is it the cheapest? That's more expensive than the Xbox Series S.
Can't use discs in there, though.
Yeah.
You can't use discs in the Switch either. Oh!
No crap.
Fine. I was just saying that it is probably the best.
And if for $50 a year, you get access to all the games you're nostalgic for if you've ever played video games.
Yeah.
Other than Halo. If you're nostalgic for Halo.
Nintendo games.
All right. Now, let's just say your kid's dead set on an Xbox. Will, what should they go get?
Not the freaking Series S. Well, it depends.
Therapy.
If it's a two...
Therapy.
If you know that if the kid is going to end up having both systems, get the Series S. There's no reason to get the disc version.
By both systems, do you mean Nintendo and an Xbox or PS5 and an Xbox?
I didn't consider that duo. I wouldn't consider getting the Series S if you're getting the Nintendo.
Yeah.
But if you're getting the PS5, I would definitely get the Series S because that gives you the lowest price to entry, get Game Pass with it, gives you all the Xbox games, and really there's not a loss there. And it's so much cheaper than the other one. There's not a loss. That's the way you should go. But
now, if you or your child have a huge backlog of Xbox games from previous generations,
absolutely get the Series X. Yes,
I think the Series X is no brainer.
Yes,
because you can throw any disc in there. Like if you have any discs from previous generations that you want to play, even if you don't know what's on the list, your best bet is to just get the Series X because
most of them do play. If they played on the 360 or the Xbox One, more than likely they play on the Xbox Series S or Series X.
Although the OG Xbox games list is much lower than it was on the 360. So if you're going off the list of the 360, those games may or may not work on the Series X. That backwards compatibility program got smaller and then bigger again.
However, any Xbox One game works besides the Kinect ones. Every single one works, including the controllers.
Yep. And there's a lot of games that are, I was going to say cohabitable. That's a weird way to say that. Are compatible with both the Xbox One and the Xbox Series X. But you probably should not be buying into the Xbox One at this point.
No.
Now, here's an even harder thing, though, for Andrew. Let's say your kid wants a PlayStation. Do you get a PS4 Pro, which are coming down in price, or regular PlayStation even might be existing in a place you're going to go buy something, or the PS5? And would you get a digital PS5 to save $100?
You've added like 3 questions in one.
It's a hard question because
you added like 3 questions in one.
There's a lot of value to a PS4 still.
Yeah, think about you're selling it to me even because I'm in the same boat right now.
Right. I mean,
my eyes look like I'm possessed by a robot with this blue.
There's going to be good games coming out for the PS5, I would say. I would get a PS5 strictly as a person who has the Sony systems. I wouldn't get rid of a PS4, right? Like,
but let's say the kid has no PlayStation consoles whatsoever. And you're looking. I think the PS4 is around $200, and the PS5 is still.
Yeah.
And they've said that they're not going to make any exclusive PS5 games for at least a couple of years now.
I think it's one more year at most, though. I think we're getting to the point where they will have some exclusives.
So if you do the math on that, right? Like the games are still going to be better on the PS5. The kid is probably not going to be looking to play the nostalgia games from the PS4 as much. Just guesstimating here on like. Average teenager, they're looking at what's new and shiny, not the old games. I would just go with the PS5 because that's going to grow with the kid, right? Like that catalog is growing. It's going to be the one that doesn't plateau for a long time. So,
but do you think there's enough value in the PS4 library of games and the price of games, most likely, that it would make sense to buy one?
I don't know. That's the tough part, right? Because like the kid's still going to want the new games. I think that's the crux of it. For someone like Will, who actually is looking at the old games more, it makes more sense, right? Because you're going to be buying like 3 old games for the price of 1 new game.
Yep. Also, God of War is going to be on PS4.
Right, but what I'm saying
Don't
is
buy your kids a Vita. Don't do that.
With the kids, they're not going to be looking at the old games where you're getting like 3 games for the price of 1 or cheaper than that even.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be looking at all the new games.
Yeah, most likely.
So you have to factor in that aspect of it where
it's a good life lesson.
The only reason to get a PS4 at this point, and this is my opinion, the only reason to get a PS4 at this point is if there's enough games in the PS4 library and you're not worried about next-gen graphics for you. Like
yes.
Enough games that you like in the existing library, and you can get them cheap because you can right now. There's 100 million consoles out there. The games are getting cheaper.
But there's also a large catalog that is backwards compatible still.
Correct. I'm just saying if all you want to do is spend $200 on a console and then spend $300 on games right out the door, you're going to get a lot more value out of the PS4.
Yes.
If you want to spend money on a next-gen protection plan, get a PS5.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have
protection plan.
You're not gonna have the request for a new console within 3 years if you get the PS5 now. So you're technically saving money. It doesn't seem like it, but you're saving money by going with the more expensive console that is the new one with the disc, because you can still save. You can then save money by buying some of the older games that are backwards compatible if your kid is interested still.
Now, I haven't heard a lot of PS5s burning themselves out, but a lot of PS4s at this point, because Sony went cheap on a lot of the components in it, have had detrimental failures. I haven't heard anything like that on the PS5. So you might be buying just like the PS3s. You might be buying a ticking time bomb if you buy an older console. Like that just across the board. If you buy an older console, you might be buying somebody else's problems.
It is a ticking time bomb. Regardless, the ticking time bomb is obsolescence.
Yeah. I mean,
if you're buying it brand new at this point, that would be silly.
Now let's ask this question.
Okay.
If all you want is direct access to a library of games, what's the best console to get?
I mean, if the new generation, I'd have to go with the Series X simply because of Game Pass.
Well, I mean, is the Series S viable if all you want is Xbox Game Pass?
Yeah, if that's all you want and you're good with digital games, yeah, sure. I mean, the graphics are lower and the processing power is lower, but I mean, I've played the Series S. And I don't see much of a difference, honestly, if any.
No, I really don't. I think the one console out there right now that you couldn't pay me to go get is actually the digital PS5.
Yeah, I wouldn't buy it.
I have plenty of PS4 discs. Like if I didn't have any discs at all and I was jumping into this generation and I'm a Gen Zer who doesn't care about, physical media, then I might consider a digital PS5. But I'm so ingrained in digital and physical media.
I don't think that console makes any sense. If it was like $200 or $250 cheaper, that makes sense.
Only $100, it makes sense.
I might as well get the disc.
It makes sense only because it could make sense only because people don't want discs. That's the only reason, and they want to put that money towards upgrading the hard drive, like the storage capacity.
Now, what console or what do we? Let me go backwards here. Is there any space that makes sense where you buy your kid a PC instead of any of the consoles out there available right now?
Yes.
If they
like RTSs.
Yeah, that's true. If your kids like RTSs, there's zero reason to get them a console. Just go get them a computer.
I would argue that there's a reason to buy it. If your kid wants single player games and they don't have a preference towards anything that would benefit them with a console, right? Like they're over here just playing Skyrim, or just think of any other game that's purely single player, and they're not over there with Call of Duty, Battlefield, or playing the sports games where they're having friends over and they want to play split screen or whatever. Just get them if they are okay with that concept of playing at a desk or on a laptop. You're better off doing it. They'll get better graphics. They'll have a much better longevity, and the controls are
basically a limitless library of games because you have Steam, you have Epic Games. You also have a bunch of PlayStation games now. Yeah. You can still get Game Pass. So you get basically best of all worlds in that scenario.
Honestly,
now, I will say this: if you're looking to get your kids something and you already have a PC, the Steam Deck is a great complement to that. Yeah. I just wouldn't get a kid a Steam Deck only.
I don't think the Steam Deck is good for RTSs.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If your kid is an RTS fan, no way. But if your kid's already got a decent sized Steam library, this is like an awesome complement to it. The Steam Deck is like it's like the greatest device for somebody who's a PC gamer and wants to play their games on the go.
I would say if a parent wants a project with their child, build a PC with them.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can bond over building it. You'll save more money by building it. It's actually fairly reasonable to get a good PC that will last. I mean, I built mine and it has lasted quite a while. So
I built mine with parts from a friend's PC.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is though, that's an expensive. That's a high barrier, I think. So you're kind of giving yourself a gift too. You got to also realize that can also be made to have productivity aspects that could contribute towards like school. So
it's definitely something you got to think about because none of the consoles, despite costing $500,
right?
The PS5 and the Xbox. Although I'll take that back for one reason and one reason alone. We'll get back to that in a second. But PS5 absolutely will not do productivity apps.
You're gonna take it back because the Xbox
technically the Xbox Series X with a mouse and keyboard can access Office 365. So I can't throw that one out entirely.
It's not marketed that way.
It's not, but it will do it. And it has an internet browser, unlike the PS5.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying it's one of those things where, especially if your kid is potentially interested in coding or whatever, if they like video games so much, they want to maybe try developing some
PC's better.
Or whatever. Do the PC route. Give yourself the gift of building it with them if you're inclined. That's a great bonding experience.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe point out the fact that that's also going to be useful for their schoolwork and whatever other hobbies. So
it will be. It definitely. Yeah. Like, I agree with you on that, Andrew. That was something I was going to bring up, and you got to it first.
And that would last you their entire middle school through high school, probably even into college, without being terrible. Even a gaming laptop, if you were inclined to go that route, would last quite a while. So
now, here's something that I would shy away from. I see these all over the internet, and people always want to go buy them because they're cheap. Let me actually share the screen. I was trying to share it and I didn't. I'm losing my mind, guys. No.
Is it like the
all these like cheap Android tablets?
Yeah.
I would not buy any of these for my children. They are cheaper. They'll do emulation. Some of them hit or miss. Depends on how well they're built and who built them. I would avoid them.
Yeah, no, this is garbage.
A lot of times, the good ones end up being way more expensive than.
Or you're just gonna buy this and then I'm buying something else. So
exactly. Like, for me, what I've always found is when I buy something for emulation, I tend to just not end up using it.
Right.
Like I'll download an entire library of the games I already own on it, and then when I'm done setting it up, then I never play it. And no, don't get this Logitech G Cloud thing. I know Xbox is heavy marketing this right now, but it's just an Android tablet with controllers on the ends of it. I heard
at that rate, you're better off buying your kid an iPad.
Yep.
The iPad, actually, that is a great point. You can get an iPad and a Nimbus Plus controller, and they have Minecraft. Boom.
They still sell the iPad Mini, right?
Yeah, but that's actually more expensive than the standard iPad. The standard iPad, I think, is $329.
Well,
I think the Mini is like $400.
I was just looking at it from the standpoint that the Mini is also a great e-reader, which is the life hack that you can get Nook and Kindle on it instead of, limiting yourself to one or the other.
I remember when I first realized I could download that app. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Because you still have a Nook reader, don't you, Will?
Yeah, I have one too.
Do you? I've got an actual legit Kindle because I like the e-reader screen. The e-ink screen. E-ink is amazing to read on. I love it.
Yeah, I have the Nook from like back when they first came out with the Nook Color.
Yeah.
So
that's actually not an e-ink screen, but that is actually a decent screen for reading.
It is. But it's one of those things where that was before the iPad Mini was like even remotely affordable back then. I don't even think they had the iPad Mini at the time. So
just for fun, let's see what an iPad costs versus these consoles. Because you're not wrong. I mean, and it has Apple Arcade. which is $5 a month, gives you access to a library of mobile games.
So I think that depends on the age of the kid a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, but the iPad isn't becoming more and more of a productivity machine too.
Yeah, I mean, it's competing with the Surface.
Mm-hmm.
So this is okay. So standard iPad, this is the new one, is $450. So it's $50 cheaper than the consoles that we've already discussed. iPad Pro is an $800 thing, and then the previous gen iPad is $329. So this is what I was looking at.
The Mini's $500.
Yeah. Yep. So that's the same price as the console.
Ridiculously nice. So they've probably upgraded that to make it.
The internals of the iPad Mini, if I remember correctly, are on par or better than the iPad Air and just one step below the iPad Pro. So that's why it's priced the way it is.
That's fair price. That's a fair price.
And your kids can use it as a drawing tablet too. So you got the drawing aspect of it too with an Apple Pencil if you pair it with that. So if your kid's into art, like there you go too.
Yeah, that's true. There's a lot of things you can do with it.
But the iPad is becoming more and more of a productivity machine, as well as it's actually pretty good at gaming. I've gamed on my iPad before, and my iPad's old.
Can you get the Game Pass library in this now?
Technically, you can get the xCloud version of Game Pass on it.
Okay.
Yes.
Chris, what's the Surface price?
I think the Surface. Well, if you want to game on a Surface, you really need one of the higher end ones.
The Surface Book is kind
you
of
want
expensive.
a higher end one. They're very expensive. They're way more expensive than an iPad.
Yeah, but you have to do.
They brought down the price.
Yeah, but that's on the cheap model, and you don't want to get that for gaming.
But you want the book. Because they actually advertise the book as being
the laptop Go. That's what I'm thinking of. I think is the cheap one.
Yeah, the laptops are cheap garbage. I wouldn't buy one.
I don't think the Surface makes sense for gaming. If you
it doesn't, but they advertise the book.
Don't get the Surface Duo.
Don't get the Duo.
No matter what.
That's the worst idea. It's not even a cell phone. That's what they needed it to be if it was going to be good.
I don't care about all these commitments. I want to know what you're selling me.
Where's the book, man? You gotta find the second one up.
Surface Pro 9.
No, that's just the.
Oh, here you go. You want Surface laptop?
No, it's not the laptop. They're not advertising.
I don't think that exists anymore, Andrew. I think they did away with it.
Did they get rid of the book too?
I think they did. I think that's what the Surface laptop is now.
I have nothing to contribute. I don't know.
Laptop Studio, maybe?
Maybe they replaced it with Studio. They used to.
I know these are ridiculously expensive because this is like meant for artists and creative types.
Yeah. So don't get the Surface.
$1,600. Yeah.
Oh wow.
I mean, you're talking like if you want to buy the top iPad, you'd pay the same price.
Yeah.
If you bought the most expensive iPad, you might.
Do not buy this for a child.
Do not. No.
But look, this is the starting price.
Right. That's crazy. You can. Okay. I just want to point out you could build a high-end gaming PC for less than this.
Mm-hmm.
But this is OEM, all Microsoft, all the time. So like this is going to be compatible with everything.
Well, that's the most expensive.
How much does the laptop go? I'm curious.
Game Pass.
Yeah, that's the most expensive Game Pass machine. That's a fact.
Yeah.
The only thing you get out of this is like productivity. That's really the only thing you're gaining.
I mean, this is an expensive laptop for it being what it is from Microsoft. I just want to point that out.
It is or is not?
It is. This is because this is the low quality laptop from Microsoft.
I believe that is. This is basically the equivalent of a MacBook Air.
I don't think it's even equivalent to an Air. I think it's below that.
I'm saying it's what Microsoft is touting as equivalent to a MacBook Air.
Same class is what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's
except that
lower quality.
Except that Windows requires way more resources to run than anything Apple makes. So you're going to get less out of it. All right, here we go. So you want to see all of them. So this is giving me a comparison. Yeah, so
they got rid of the one.
I was pretty sure the book was gone because the detachable tablet on the top of the Surface Book was kind of a novelty because the battery life was awful when you removed it from the actual laptop. A friend of mine has it. A friend of mine has it, and the hinge is really cool because you get that curved hinge.
Yeah.
But once you remove the tablet, it's like it drops half its power. Its battery life's cut in to like a quarter. It's not very good. It's just not. That's probably why they dropped it because there was no point.
There was no way to make it probably efficient enough.
Long story short, if you're going to get a computer, to game on, I would go to Newegg and not get it directly from Microsoft.
I would build it.
You can't really build a laptop. I mean, you can.
No, a laptop. I mean,
you're saying actually, if you're going to go portable gaming, get this because at least I can dock this and make it a PC, and it's direct from Steam. It's not. It costs less than this, and it games better.
I'm trying to think for a laptop.
You can dock.
I know the Razer
with a keyboard. I could get the dock, a keyboard, and a mouse for about the same price as one of these Surface laptops.
Isn't Razer usually pretty well received?
Yeah.
They usually have a lot of. I mean, they have a lot of good peripherals. So
the Steam Deck dock that I'm probably going to get is $90. It gives you like 3 USB 3s, so you can get a keyboard, mouse, and whatever else peripheral you want. A monitor. It's got output to DVI and HDMI, or DisplayPort and HDMI, and it's got Ethernet. So like you've got everything you could possibly want in one little dock.
There's always Razer. That's a decent laptop brand.
Yeah,
Acer's pretty good too. That's what I have.
I guess the point we're making is don't overspend on gaming on a computer.
No.
Don't do that. But a project for a father or mother and daughter or son would be a lot of fun, I think, provided that you have the patience to do it, to build the PC. I want to come back to this, though. If you get your son or daughter an iPad, you have instant access to Minecraft and a lot of fun, easy-to-learn games for younger children, as well as a productivity tool in the future when they get older.
I would almost recommend the mini just because, depending on the age of the kid, just because of size and not dropping it as frequently.
And actually, iOS has my favorite controller of the modern era. The Nimbus Plus is my favorite controller I've ever had. I love that controller so much. Let's see if I can find it on here. I know it's advertised.
Is it the blue one?
No. It's a black controller.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find it. I guess I got to go up to accessories and just see here. Featured iPad. Let's just go on iPad. It's probably in there. But it's an M5 controller, so it directly connects with an iPad or whatever potential control or whatever potential iOS device you may or may not have at the time.
All right, gaming and toys.
There it is. But the Nimbus Plus, there it is right there. This controller is awesome.
The Sony controller seems to work with it.
All of Sony and Microsoft's, as long as they have Bluetooth connections, will pair with. So if you already have controllers laying around, that works too. I also have this Rotor Riot controller too. It's not as good, but it's pretty good. It plugs directly into your iPhone using the Lightning port, and it has pass-through charging, so you can charge your iPhone while you use it. I would definitely say that this is as comfortable, but not as useful, because you can pair this with anything. This will only pair with iOS devices that have a Lightning port.
Okay.
Right.
So, and you cannot plug this into an Apple TV. This will plug Bluetooth to an Apple TV. So if you have an Apple TV, you want to use Apple Arcade with it, this is the way to go.
Good enough.
All right. Anyways, long story short, I think iOS is actually a pretty good platform to game on. It has access to xCloud gaming, has access to Steam Link. So if you have a PC to link to it, you can use that. It's got GeForce Now with the NVIDIA. So there's a lot of, and PlayStation Remote Play. So if you have multiple consoles already, you can play all of them on your iPad or iOS device.
It's good for gaming for specific types of games. It's not going to be running anything crazy.
No, but if you, like, let's say you want to watch, it's kind of like how the Wii U had the off TV play.
Yeah.
If your kid wants to play a console while you're watching sports,
right, it's
a great companion for any console in your living room. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah.
All right, I think we did the console. Is there like any games you would recommend for this holiday season?
All right, so how about this? Let's go buy console. What you should get. I'm gonna exit out of this thing so I can start searching stuff up there. Andrew, you got the PS5. We all have a Switch, I believe. I think all three of us do. All of us have a PC capable of playing games, but not all of us use them for that. And then all of us have some form of. Oh, Andrew, you lost your green screen. What happened there?
I don't know. My cat's doing stupid shit. So
okay,
as cats do. Yeah.
No, my cat was fiddling with the cables behind my computer.
Oh,
and
great.
That's how I lost my camera screen at first, and then.
Well, let's start with the Switch because it's probably got the most options. Let's say you buy a kid a Switch, younger kid. What game would you automatically suggest?
I need to know the age of this kid, though.
10 and under.
Yeah.
10 and under.
We'll do a 10 and
Mario
under,
Kart?
10 and older.
Mario Kart.
Yep, Mario Kart for sure. Smash
Animal
Bros.
Crossing.
Probably. Animal Crossing. Pokemon
There's
Go.
Pokemon.
One of the Pokemon.
There's 1,000 of the Pokemon, so
Probably get the newest gen. Probably.
I don't know. I would lean towards. You can't go wrong with giving them the Eevee or Pikachu.
yeah.
I mean, if they're
closest
really
to Pokemon
young,
Go.
if they're really young, I would go with the Eevee or Pikachu. If they're older, I'd probably go with whatever the newest one is.
Yeah.
Pokemon Go is the easiest one for a young child to understand.
Is this Scarlet and Violet?
Yeah, they're just coming out like this month, I think, which is perfect because it's holidays.
But yeah, definitely Mario Kart's. I think Mario Kart's a given. That's like the first game you should buy.
Yes.
Outside of that, I think Strikers is solid.
Oh,
Strikers.
Tennis and Strikers. Trying to think what other ones.
The Witcher. No, I'm just kidding.
Honestly,
I mean, if they're a teenager, to get them Zelda and
Link's Awakening. But I think Link's Awakening is perfectly acceptable for a younger kid.
It depends. Well,
Link's Awakening is not that hard to understand.
it isn't, but it's so different than what most games are like today.
Yeah, but it's something you can pick up. I think that's a perfectly fine one for them.
I mean, I really like that game. So, like, I
just would lean towards starting out kids of a certain age with Mario.
Oh, Switch Sports. Obviously, Switch Sports.
And letting them explore games over time.
Get them the Grand Theft Auto trilogy.
Yeah.
It's not a dumpster fire, I promise. Just kidding. It is awful. Don't get that. It barely works on I think it probably works now, but when it launched, it did not work at all.
But, yeah.
Oh, you know what? We didn't say which Switch should people get, though. I don't think the Switch Lite makes sense for a family.
No.
It depends on what you're getting and why you're getting it. So I would recommend either the OLED model or the original model simply because I prefer having the dock option.
So try to get a newer model of the original version.
Yes.
There's two different. There's a V1 and a V2. V1 has lower battery life, more likely to have Joy-Con drift, and it's probably.
I don't think to fix the Joy-Con drift, by the way, on the V2. Just FYI.
V2 it came out before the OLED, so yes, it does not. It still has the stick drift issue. So anyone that comes in the box that was produced before the OLED model, and I think they discontinued the OG Switch after the OLED model came out.
Yeah, I think
will have the potential of having stick drift.
And I don't know how you differentiate that by the box.
You just have to see if it's got a newer copyright date, then it means they've released a V3 of the OG Switch, which I don't think they ever did. But the V2 has a better battery life. So hands down, if you can get the only way you can tell it's a V2 box is if it's a red box. Red boxes mean V2. The original box is like some offshoot of that. It's like a some kind of colored box going on that's not red. And then the OLED models, it just says OLED on it. It's really easy to differentiate. But the only reason I think you get a Switch Lite is if your kid is never going to play on TV and they play alone, or if you're getting an additional Switch for the family where the kid can play off the screen while other people are using the one on the screen. Will has some that.
Yeah,
it's like maybe I don't know. That's if you're looking for
you
a
can
second
save like $200 to get
but like
you can probably get a Switch Lite for $150 if you look hard enough. So if you want an additional Switch for the family, then the Switch Lite might be the right option. If you're trying to get multiple dockable Switches, I would never go for the Lite. Obviously.
Also, I mean, another positive to the other models is that you can switch out the Joy-Cons. So if a kid really likes to have certain color Joy-Cons or multiple Joy-Cons, that's the only one you can switch. If you get the Lite, they're obviously attached to the model.
Yeah, exactly. And if you like to have the max customization, then any of the ones that is dockable will be allowed to use like this kind of controller or any third-party controller you can think of, like the bin box ones that like Spawncast is all gushing over, which are basically straight up Joy-Cons with a different shell because they have got NFC in them.
See, that's why I'm saying like the Lite only makes sense
as an additional Switch.
No, it only makes sense if it's an additional Switch for somebody who plans to only ever use it as a mobile one, like portable. Because but when you start coming in with your kids, like you have 2 teenage boys, right? How do you choose which one is using which, right? Like there's kind of this thing where I feel like both of them would have the same incentives to want one that is actually customizable and dockable. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Then you just get both kids a Switch Lite, and you keep this regular Switch for yourself. Problem solved.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I'm just saying, like, it would be weird, right?
I mean,
especially
I would equate the Switch Lite as like a super powered Game Boy. So, like, basically,
absolutely.
If you want to get your kids something for the car to go on lots of trips, which a lot of people aren't doing right now because of the gas prices, but if you wanted to get something to put in the car and that's like a portable only device, that's the best thing to get, Switch Lite. Mm-hmm. Plus, the Joy-Con rails, they're good, but I've noticed that there's a little give to them. So if you got a kid that's really hard on things, I would definitely consider it.
And also, like, there's a bunch of, like, I can tell you from experience that little kids will lose those freaking Joy-Cons. So, it might be better to get the one that the Joy-Cons can't come off.
Right, and if you really want that D-pad experience, the only console to ship with a D-pad is the Switch Lite. So
yeah, I don't think I've played a game on there, or Claire hasn't played a game that needs it. So I don't know. Well, I also recommend Ori and the Blind Forest for the Switch. That's a great game.
Yeah, that is actually, and it's a cheaper one too. I think it's $40 for the collection on a physical cart. So
yeah, if you get it digitally, I think it's only like $15. So
that's for one of the 2 games.
Just one, but you may not want both of them. So
if you get both, it's still going to cost you at least $20 to $30.
The thing is, the second game is completely different than the first game. So
like in a good way or a bad way?
I really enjoyed it because it's much more RPG focused.
Oh, the second one is?
Yeah, it's very different. You can get like a sword, like a energy sword thing. Yeah.
Interesting. All right. Let's move on to games. All right. So which console has the most to give in the kids range? I think we've all agreed that the Nintendo Switch. Yeah, and then we said Switch Sports, Super Smash Bros, Mario Kart. I'm looking at my
for a young kid, definitely get the Switch. I mean, that's a no-brainer.
And we've already got quite a few games. Super Mario Party. Holy cow! I can't believe we forgot that one.
Mario and like you said, the Nintendo Switch Online, which gives you access to a bunch of older games.
Right. Basically, if it has Mario in the title, it's probably good to get. Mario Odyssey.
Yeah.
That's pretty much Mario is the brand name. Like, it's like Disney. It's going to be most likely appropriate for children.
Did you ever do Super Mario All-Stars? Isn't that what that's called?
Super Mario 3D All-Stars. I mean, that's more of a nostalgia trip for people like you and I, Will. I mean, it's got Super Mario Galaxy, which would be more
you said everything with Mario in the title is good, and now you're arguing with
me. Kids can play with that, but you get Super Mario 64 is already in Nintendo Switch's service for $50 a year.
That's true.
Yeah.
And Mario Sunshine is such a departure from the standard mechanics. I would argue that most kids probably wouldn't want to play that at this point. I mean, it's nice for you and I who had a GameCube.
If you just get into the major titles that are Mario, you're safe. Let's just leave it at that.
If your kid wants an early introduction to RPG style mechanics or strategy RPG mechanics, Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battles, that's really fun actually.
I've heard that's really good.
It's like XCOM with Mario kid characters, but it's kind of got like the turn-based strategy too. Because I mean, XCOM had that a long time ago, didn't it? Turn-based.
And if Microsoft can actually buy Activision, they want to put Call of Duty on the Switch. So when your kid gets older, there you go.
We'll see.
I'm thinking probably the older Call of Duties. I don't think they're going to try to put the new ones on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Advanced Warfare or like who knows?
Well, they probably put the original Modern Warfare trilogy on there. I'm sure that would run just fine.
Maybe.
Probably. They could put just zombies on there.
That's all you want, Chris.
I know.
That's all you ever want.
So, all right, let's say your kid's a little older then, and they might get a PS5 or an Xbox. Well, what games on the Xbox make sense to get this holiday season?
Game Pass.
I mean, you're
really,
right.
It's true. That's true.
You're not wrong. You get more out of that.
I would wait till Black Friday. They usually have it like 50% off. You can get 6 months for it's like $35 or something like that.
Honestly, Game Pass as a gift is like the gift that keeps on giving.
Oh yeah,
we get like a free trial
so many games. And the thing is, I'll be honest, there hasn't been a whole bunch of great games that come out this generation yet. So if you already have access to those in the Game Pass anyway, but then you have all of the 360 games, you have the Xbox One games, you might as well just get Game Pass.
Shoot, they've even got Persona on there now.
Oh yeah, there's Persona on there. Also, oh man, what is that? Oh crap! I'll come back to it. There's another fantasy RPG game coming to it. No, it's League of Legends is coming to Game Pass. That's
League of Legends is going to be on
all of them, all the different versions of League of Legends. 100% look it up. Yes, it's coming.
I didn't think League of Legends cost money.
No, like you get it all of the heroes and like all of the expansions or whatever, so you can start off like way high. Yeah.
Interesting.
Skip the actual work part of it.
Is it Riot Games? It Riot Games? Yeah, so that you get all of the Riot games.
Okay.
Is Riot like partially owned by Activision or something? Or they just made a deal?
It's a separate deal. Yeah.
It's even more interesting.
Probably just getting paid money, let's be honest.
Oh, yeah.
Plus, Game Pass, if you have a PC, you get access to the games there too.
Yeah, you might. Oh, yeah, that's another thing. Make sure you get the Xbox Ultimate because you get that PC and Xbox.
I think they're doing away with the separate versions. I could be wrong.
Oh, I'm sure, but right now it's still there, so you might as well get
you can get it because PC Game Pass or Xbox Game Pass alone is like $10, but you don't get xCloud streaming with the standard. I believe you only get it.
Nothing you can stream to your phone or your tablet. It's pretty cool service if you're okay with getting like the more older games. There's a lot of new games on there too. So like anything that does come out eventually because they bought every freaking studio. So I'm assuming a game will come out sometime.
And where Game Pass is valuable because you get lots of brand new games, the PS Plus service is not nearly as valuable to get the higher tiers.
It's also so confusing.
I've been confused by it since they launched it. And first off, I only play the games I actually buy anyways. So like for me, I only get PS Plus because of cloud saves. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. Same.
But as far as PlayStation goes, okay, let me stop that. Well, let's say you want to buy an actual game. What game are you going to buy if it's not Game Pass? Like, let's say you don't want to sign your kid up for a service.
This is going to be shocking, but I think Call of Duty this year doesn't suck. So I've heard really great things about the new Call of Duty.
You're going to buy the kid Call of Duty before Halo when it is Xbox?
Yeah.
I think the Master Chief Collection is the best value.
Okay. That's fair. Chief.
That's my point with what Chris just said. You're going to buy them the yearly release of Call of Duty before buying them the gift of Halo.
Yeah, I think Master Chief Collection
has to
be number one.
You know why?
They're friends.
Get $15 and freaking buy the Game Pass, and you don't need to buy the game.
But that's a monthly subscription. You want to give your kid something that lasts forever.
I don't know.
Get them a
disc. Do they not get access to Call of Duty now with the Game Pass?
I don't know if that's through yet.
No, it hasn't come through yet because who's the CEO of PlayStation right now for North America?
Jim Ryan.
Jim Ryan keeps bitching about it.
So what?
Well, it's just like
he's going to lose.
I mean,
if this deal doesn't go through, then Microsoft's going to buy something else.
Everyone sees through it though. He's just like. PlayStation has no exclusive games.
He just needs to focus on what makes PlayStation better. But that's different. That's
all right. So I changed my answer. I was still hung up on the Game Pass. If you want to buy an amazing game, it would be a Master Chief Collection.
Yeah,
Halo
absolutely.
5. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know. I'm honestly like the Halo 5 multiplayer was a lot of fun. I'm actually going to start playing it again.
Because I just want to point out there are places where the internet is not always the best. So there are some people who don't have Game Pass just for that reason alone.
Well, Game Pass allows you to download. You can download but then
you still have to download.
Yes. So like sometimes it's worth having a disc because it gets you started. Like the download will be far smaller. Because you can get a lot of it off.
Not the new games. It's like the exact same size. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, that is a problem. A lot of newer games come with that's kind of a lie. So what they found out with Xbox specifically was if you take the Xbox to offline mode and then install the disc, the update ended up being much smaller. So
really?
Apparently it'll only take off the disc what's not included in the update if you download it with the internet active. If you download a game with the internet off and you go to offline mode, which is actually a pain in the butt to do in the first place, but if you do it that way, all of the updates end up being a lot smaller.
Interesting.
Like, for example, for Mass Effect Legendary Edition, some people actually turned off their internet and let the disc do most of the install. And then I think the update was like maybe 10 or 15 gigs smaller than it would have been had they just done it straight from the internet in the first place. So it ended up saving them some time, money, and effort. Although the effort to get it in offline mode may have outweighed that. Because the Xbox doesn't want to be offline ever.
Also, I just want to point out that we're earlier in this conversation, we're talking about how kids are going to want the newest, shiniest thing. Yeah. So they're going to want Call of Duty.
That's fair. I know I'm going against it just by the fact that Halo is what Halo is to
I think
Xbox.
you're just.
I mean, the only reason
I didn't pick that game.
I am a little bit shocked. Yeah, that's
the
fair.
Nice thing about Xbox is, as a parent of a child with an Xbox, you can go to your local game store and pick out a bunch of backwards compatible games for your kids to play. So like you can get them some latest and greatest stuff, and then find a bunch of cheap but also valuable games.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Which
and
is
also go to
nice.
eBay. It's so easy to find new games.
Yeah, exactly. Get them like Knights of the Republic, the old Mass Effect games, Left 4 Dead works, Dead Rising. Although you gotta get the new Xbox One versions for some reason. There's just a huge back catalog that you can get your kids on the cheap.
Yeah. Well, pure number of games, we don't have to talk about. Well, I think the quality is pretty high in those older games too. Pure number of games
selected is
Xbox
good.
Gets it. Yeah, I mean, as far as like, I don't know how many new. I guess now they have the God of War game that's came out. They have.
I would have to look at the list again. I haven't bought a lot of games yet. I've still been doing more sports games outside of the couple games I have purchased. But I mean, for PlayStation, there's definitely
that's a PS5 exclusive.
Yeah, if you're looking to buy your kid a game for PlayStation 5, or I guess since they still have some for PlayStation 4, there's always the God of War game. There's the Spider-Man games.
Oh wow, that's freaking out. Okay.
Especially since they haven't come out, they have not announced officially yet the next Infamous game. I know that's slated.
No, they just said they just confirmed it's not happening.
Did they confirm it's not happening?
Yeah.
I thought that was teased for a while now.
Here's the top selling PlayStation 5 games. I think
Ratchet and Clank. That's fair.
Yeah, Demon's Souls. It was
Chris, when did they confirm it's not happening?
How old is
this? They did it. So here's what happened with the Infamous news. So they were talking about it for a long time, and then all of a sudden on Twitter they put out a tweet that said, "No, we're not working on Infamous. As a nice little gift to everybody who owns the Infamous games on the PS4. Here's a bunch of free DLC that was released in other regions. Download it for free now, forever, and keep it." So like you get the Cole's Legacy DLC for free now. There's like an extra aesthetic to First Light that's free now.
Honestly, they need to be working. They need to be working on a new one, but that's a different issue.
I feel like these games have not sold super well.
Well, to be fair, Demon's Souls is pretty niche. It's a pretty niche game.
Yeah, but it's also the best selling.
Where's your camera?
Oh, I'm blocking it for a second because it was like blacking out. So
it's competing also with Elden Ring.
Although I am surprised that Ratchet and Clank has not outsold Demon's Souls.
Dude, look at the top selling Xbox games just as a comparison.
You have to remember that there was a limited amount of PlayStation 5s that actually sold.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. It just seems like PlayStation usually sells way more games like this, especially in the very beginning.
I think the list.
I mean, I think you're probably right. It's just because of
I think the list that Chris found is weird, but that's different.
No, that was I think that was PS5 exclusives because there's not that many.
I don't think.
Oh, that's what it was. It's just exclusive. Okay.
So I'm trying to find. I don't even know if the Xbox has a list yet. Probably doesn't.
But God of War for sure. The Spider-Man games. Depending on if they've played the first Horizon Zero Dawn game, there's the sequel.
Yeah, Xbox is a lot harder because technically anything that runs on the Xbox Series X pretty much runs on other platforms, like including the Xbox One. I have yet to see very many games that are actually next-gen exclusive for Xbox.
Well, I think the Gears Tactic one might be one, also Microsoft Flight Simulator, but they
yeah, but that's on PC too. Who knows what the sales are on that?
So here's another thing not to be missed. It's not coming out in time, obviously, for the holidays, but just be prepared. Maybe do the pre-order for your kid. The Hogwarts Legacy game.
Is that PS exclusive? I can't remember.
I don't know if it is. I just know
that Xbox too.
I just know that that's the game that is going to be the largest, the biggest game of 2023. Yeah, because it comes out in what, February?
February 10th. Yeah.
Yeah. So Hogwarts Legacy is going to be the biggest game of the year next year.
It's coming to Nintendo Switch. How?
I don't know, but
not until later. I don't think.
Much later.
Revealed at a later date. Okay.
So they might cancel that.
But that's all I'm saying is that right amazing. There. That's the game. That's the game your kid is going to want.
That's the game that Will wants. Right now, at least. Until I'm going to be the person that wait 6 months to buy it, so we'll see what it actually is.
I'm definitely not going to buy it right away.
I'm debating.
I've got it on my wish list on Steam, but
I've been highly tempted to pre-order. I know
that's probably going to be a $70 game. Unreal Engine. I bet it uses Unreal 5 then, right?
Probably, maybe. I don't know.
Or 4.
All I know is the game looks impressive.
I'm so excited. I'm so happy they finally made a Hogwarts game that's actually worth buying.
So
you know what? My favorite Hogwarts games prior to this one were the RPGs on the Game Boy. There was Harry Potter and Sorcerer's Stone and Harry Potter Chamber of Secrets.
It was
like Final Fantasy RPG. It was like turn-based combat and everything.
GameCube had some good open world.
Hands down, Deathly Hallows was the best one.
Okay. Let's dive into.
It was just Call of Duty with wands.
Let's dive into controllers. Let's dive into the controllers now. As far as controllers go, I think we can all agree that if you're buying a controller for your kid, go OEM no matter which console.
Explain what that is.
Original, what is it? Original and
just buy the brand name from the manufacturer of your console.
Yeah, so buy the Xbox controller from Xbox. One of those. Get the Hyperkin Duke if your kid really likes that kind of a thing. But for the most part, just get them a standard Xbox One controller, Xbox Series X controller, whichever.
Don't get cute with it to save money.
Don't do that.
There are color options, so if your kid likes a specific color, go that route.
Oh, and also Xbox, there's a lot of colors that you can also design your own controller.
Have you done that yet, Will?
I've never ordered one, but yes, I have designed it.
He's got many drafts.
With the PlayStation, you can also buy
different colors.
Well, you can buy replacement shells for the actual console.
Have you done that yet, Andrew?
I've been highly tempted to. I have not. It's $50, so
it's like, is it really worth the color change?
It might be, but that's a different issue. I have legitimate problems with them making the console white this time around.
I just don't like the way it looks. I still don't.
I like the look of the console. I really think
like that or upside down Oreo.
I just think that magenta color or black would probably look better.
That's another reason why I know this is digressing, why I want a PS4, because I want the freaking Spider-Man one.
Oh yeah. But yeah, I'm just really partial to those two color schemes for the actual console. You can buy either one. I got the control. Okay, here's the thing. Just as the warning, I had a rant on this in a previous episode of the podcast. The controllers will say they are one color. They are not that. They are not that color. They are different in person. They're like when you have the it's red, but it's actually magenta. So it's like it's really hard to describe them. It's like they all claim to be a primary color, but they're like the middle. They're like the off colors, like the pigment colors, not the light colors, right? So the red is more of a magenta color. The blue is like the baby blue type color. I forget what the other ones are, but they're just not light visual light colors. They're the pigment colors. 3 primary pigments. So it's really weird. So just keep that in mind that it's not going to be like dark navy blue or blood red. The red looks much better than what red normally looks like on the controller, in my opinion. But that's a.
I will say I think Xbox has more like off the shelf color varieties.
You do. PlayStation doesn't have green yet, if I'm not mistaken, which is disappointing because I think forest green has always been like a huge seller for them.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they had like several green, like a seafoam green or something awful.
Did they add that? Well,
I thought there was like a bluish green color that was awful. That me and you both agreed was awful. Or maybe it was like a blue that was just.
No, they had that really light blue. They added purple, which is terrible.
Unless you're Spawn Wave.
They currently have white, the red, which is a very nice magenta color, almost maroonish. They have pink. They have baby blue, which is with the black. I don't know if it looks that good. They have the purple, which is like a really dark purple. Well, it's hard to. Maybe it's a little bit bluish purple. It's hard to tell from the image.
You can find those in stores a lot, though.
Yeah, they have black as well, which is nice. I'd probably buy the black controller if I had to buy an alternative to the red one. So I think the red one looks the best.
The only way I would ever get a PS5 is if I got the black plates and a black controller.
Apparently, Cosmic Red was ranked poorly by a website. I don't know why. It's like literally the best. It's the best color, but they ranked Galactic Purple higher for some ridiculous reason.
No, I definitely agree. The magenta looks nicer than the purple.
Yeah, and it looks better than the blue, like 1,000 times. Yeah. The blue is it's too like I don't know, bright, weirdly bright. It's too bright to be paired with black.
Okay, so I think we can all agree though the the branded controllers from the manufacturers are the ones you want to get.
Yeah.
Now, the one place where there's kind of some caveats is the Switch, because there's the Switch Pro controller, there's the wireless and Nintendo Switch Online controller specific to game consoles like the SNES, NES, and the N64, and even the Genesis. So like if you're really into one of those older consoles, like that might be an option for you. But I would definitely say a good complement to the Joy-Cons is the Switch Pro controller. I got one. They're really nice, actually.
Oh, okay. I'll be honest. I am actually extremely partial to the Joy-Cons with that connector set. Like
you like the dog bone connector?
I love that thing.
I hate that thing.
I actually love that controller setup for the Joy-Cons. It's great.
The only time I use the Joy-Cons.
It's great for Mario Kart. I actually love playing Mario Kart.
Well, it's got the gyro too, so like if you like to use the gyro, that's not bad.
Yeah, but like, that thing where you just slide the two controllers in, and it's like a standard controller, or dog bone, you call it.
That's actually what they call it, is the dog bone.
I actually like it a lot. I don't know why, but especially the one that has a battery in it.
It's fine.
Yeah, the one that you can charge, that actually has the charging battery on it, has a little weight to it, and it's much better than the standard one that came with the Switch.
See, I wouldn't have bought the charging one because I hated the non-charging one so much.
No. Part of the problem with the non-charging one was like the weight. Once you added a little bit of heft to that middle piece, it felt much better to me, at least. It was
I think my hands are just too big.
Yeah, Chris is convinced he has the biggest hands on the planet. So
I just do not. The only time I like Joy-Cons.
Have you tried it, Will?
Yeah, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
Chris also says that his hands cramp up on the Switch, and I've heard that from other people too. But
on the actual Switch, it's different because there's nothing there's no good hand grip on it. I don't know.
The only time I like using Joy-Cons is when they're separated from the Switch, one in each hand, and I can have my hands separate at the side.
I mean, I play it on the screen like that. When they're separate, and I just put it next to me, like by my side. It's very weird.
That's way more comfortable.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same as the Wii. The Wii had the Joy-Con thing where the Wiimote plus nunchuck thing where you could have your hands separated, which was nice.
Wait, so Chris, did you hate the DualSense controller from the PS3?
It's not my favorite.
You didn't like the PS3 controller? Okay,
I mean, I like that better than Joy-Cons.
I liked the PS3 controller.
I don't like how small. So I know this is going to sound stupid coming from somebody who likes the Vita so much, but I think the drift on the Joy-Cons being in between the Vita and an actual controller, like a real controller, is weird. I don't like the short travel. I even feel like the travel on the Vita is more because you know how small the sticks are. Like they're not that big. It feels normal to me compared to the Switch.
I'll say this. I hated the Vita controls more than anything on this planet because that touchpad on the back should not have existed.
I mean, I don't disagree with you.
I'm just saying, like, the way you were forced to hold the PS Vita was breaking. No, it was breaking because the touchpad is awful. It should have been disabled.
I mean, it is disabled unless you're playing like a remote play and you need R2L2.
Almost any game that would have made the Vita worth playing needed to find a way to incorporate R2L2 and R3L3, which they don't have on it. So
I would say R3L3 is a bigger deal because not having clickable joysticks.
Yes, it was a huge deal.
That was
Unit 13, which have you ever played?
Never played it.
Okay, well, Unit 13.
Some loser didn't sell me his Vita library when he broke out of the Vita team.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I should have given you that game, but it would have changed your perception of the Vita like 1,000 times over because it literally is the worst concept for the Vita. It's a game that should have been amazing on the Vita, but the controls made it like degrade it by like 4 points out of 10. So it's.
In other words, don't get your kids a Vita this Christmas.
Don't.
I love the Vita, but I'm one of those weird people that actually likes it. Okay, here. How about let's go this route then. This might be fun. So we did games. We already did console recommendations for the next controller recommendations, game recommendations. I think now would be a good time to say which last gen consoles are worth getting and which ones are not worth getting. Like, let's say you want to save.
Are we only going back one?
We'll do the retro question after. So let's just say, what can you get at GameStop? What can you get at GameStop still? That's not a retro console, and are they worth it? So, how about this? The original Xbox One with the Kinect sensor, is that worth buying at this point?
No, you should get the PS4.
Yeah, Pro PS4 Pro.
I'm not there yet. Will, is the Xbox One S worth buying?
No.
Is the Xbox Series or is One X worth?
No Xboxes are worth buying. With a 360, if you can find a 360, I will still give my stamp of approval for that console, but nothing from the Xbox One generation.
You could sell me on the PS3 still almost as being worth it.
I don't think you can find PS3s and Xbox 360s at GameStops anymore.
I know, but I'm saying you could sell me on it being useful because it's still a Blu-ray player.
Oh, yeah.
And also it has a pretty great library. It just has.
We'll do retro after this one, Andrew. All right.
Okay.
Let's say the PS4 series of consoles.
Pro
is an OG PS4 worth buying?
No. Pro.
How about a PS4 Slim?
No.
I mean, if you can find a pros, yeah.
I can only say well, okay. If you can't find a Pro, then sure, but like. It's 100% the Pro because that's actually going to give you the value of being able to play these PS5 titles that are being still ported to it. Technically, it's more of a port. They're being designed right now to be on the PS5. All the
at this point, yes, they're
designed. So right now the PS4 Pro is the only one that can truly handle that graphics upgrade. It's also designed to be able to do VR. If you buy the PSVR, so you can,
which is probably going to get a decent discount when VR2 comes out here in the near future,
right? So, and isn't that compatible with both systems? No, it's not. Okay.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Yes. The VR is compatible with both, but the Sony was stupid and decided that the VR2 cannot play VR1 games.
Oh, okay.
I'm thinking of okay.
So you can get the VR1 and play it on either console.
Which I have to say, if you get a VR, one game I've always wanted to play, but I have never shelled out the money for the VR because I've
Half-Life Alyx.
What?
Half-Life Alyx?
No, Eve Valkyrie.
Oh yeah, you've talked about that one before.
It looks amazing, and it's the one reason I ever considered buying a VR. Price is just a little bit like I can't justify it for one game.
Almost picked up the VR headset knowing I would never play it because it was $100 on Black Friday like 4 years ago.
Well,
I'm
okay.
still kicking myself for not buying the PS. They had a PS4 Pro for $250, the Spider-Man edition, like 5 years ago or something like that. And every day I think about that freaking thing.
So here's the thing too. Like you gotta realize my mentality when it comes to the VR. I keep expecting to get burnt because I got burnt on the original Move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I bought those controllers and I bought peripherals for certain games thinking it would be really good.
You still have the Move stuff?
Oh yeah, it's at one of my parents' houses.
Because you can just buy the camera and the actual VR equipment and use those controllers.
No, I'm pretty sure my controllers are obsolete. They are like OGs.
No. Any Move controller is compatible with the VR one.
Oh, okay. Then they're compatible.
You can buy.
Those things have been without a charge for the past like 6 years.
I mean, you're probably gonna have to replace the batteries.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying they've been without a charge for the past 6 years. So,
but no, that's what they did. They just reused the Move controller because they had so many of them laying around since they canceled the Move so soon.
It's. I just got burnt, man. I got burnt with that. I just couldn't bring myself to jump on the VR train right away. I upgraded to a PlayStation 4 Pro specifically so I could consider it more seriously and also get longevity out.
Oh yeah, if you want to do VR1, the only option is the Pro at this point. It's just handles the VR headset far better.
Yeah. And so it's one of those things where I could make the case for the PS4 Pro just because it actually gives you the most value out of last gen consoles. At what stage do we count the Switch technically as last gen?
Switch is
it's a hybrid gen.
Switch is current gen. The Wii U
it's hybrid.
It replaced the Wii U and the 3DS, which carried on into the life of the Switch by at least a year.
The thing is, though, the Wii U is technically part of the Wii's generation, and you're not going to change my mind on this.
Yes, I agree with Will here. I think the Switch was Nintendo coming up to par with PS4. That's what I thought. I don't think they.
Unless you consider it a handheld.
Yeah, but I don't. I consider it the replacement for their console, which brings it up to par. Because they had like a 0.5 release with the Wii U. It was the Wii 0.5. Like.
Yeah. It was essentially
It was an HD Wii.
Yeah, that's exactly. It was just a Pro Wii. That's all it was.
Yeah. So
except that they played as if it. So that's the problem. It's because Nintendo released them. Essentially, the Wii was the first next gen console that was.
I don't care what they said. It was just
it wasn't. They needed.
You're
to
arguing technology, and I'm arguing release date.
I know. But the release date was so damn early.
Okay, let's just stop right there. Nobody at this Christmas should buy their child a Wii U.
No, they shouldn't.
No.
But that's what I'm saying. At what stage do we consider the Switch technically as? Let's just be honest. Nintendo is like behind in the release of their
is the Switch fun, and is it currently getting games?
Yes.
So there you go.
But I could also see the next version of the Switch.
You're arguing about something that has nothing to do with this conversation.
Fine.
We're not arguing console generation. The Wii U is the previous gen Nintendo console, regardless of what gen it's in.
Fine.
And no one should go and buy their child unless there's something very specific that you want on it, and then you're spending way too much money for something specific.
I would make the comment that I don't think there's any value in parents buying their kids an older Nintendo console. Personal opinion.
The 3DS might be worth it, but I would get them like the 2DS. No, there's a 2DS model that's really, really nice for not breaking it.
Flip one? The flip one?
You mean the one that's like a wedge?
Yeah.
I would
no. You have the one that doesn't flip. There's a flip 2DS.
Yeah, the 2DS XL. That's expensive now, though.
Well,
that's like on the top radar of every collector that doesn't want 3D, stereoscopic 3D, whatever.
Right now, if I had to say a legacy console that makes sense, I know Will is willing to say the 360. I would have to say the PS3 just because of the fact that there's games on there that you cannot get on anything else due to how the compatibility is.
I don't think you lose with either one of those consoles. I think
Right.
both those consoles are fantastic. So
the only thing that the
they are
going
peak.
against it is the backwards compatibility program is so strong on the brand new consoles. There are still exclusives to the 360 that never made their way over. So like if those are the games you want to play, then 360 is a better option. Plus,
if you can figure out how to revert back to the Blade menu, by the way, that's the best. That's the greatest thing ever.
But like as far as the backwards compatibility, unless you want like an expanded original Xbox backwards compatibility, but I still think if you want as many original Xbox games as possible, you just go and get an OG Xbox. Like at this point, they're not expensive. There's plenty of HDMI output.
I forget the version though, but there's a specific version you have to get the OG Xbox, and it has something to do with the laser. Do you know what I'm talking about?
You can replace the laser on them. And
it's a huge pain in the ass. Don't do it.
But you can also remove the clock capacitor, which you need to do on an OG Xbox to keep it from destroying itself.
You can do that, but you have to buy a new laser because the original laser will just crap out. You can't fix it. You have to replace it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I went down this route and it sucked.
Actually, now there is one case where I think it makes sense to get your kid a Wii U. I know this is going to be ridiculous, but the Wii U is technically fully backwards compatible with every Wii game, and if you hack it, it's fully backwards compatible with every GameCube game. So if you want the cheapest way to play GameCube,
but you have to hack it. You said,
yeah, it's not that hard though. Like the exploit is so easy at this point. It's easier than almost anything else we've listed off doing.
I feel like you'd be doing that specifically for the GameCube games more than the Wii games.
Well, because the Switch has no Wii Wii either, but has no GameCube backwards compatibility.
Right. I'm saying though, like I feel like if you're doing it, it's specifically to get GameCube games.
And the reason why I'm saying this is because the Wii, the GameCube, and the Wii U all share similar architecture, which is why the maximum capabilities of the Wii U is more equivalent to like an Xbox 360 or PS3 than an Xbox One or a PS4. And that's why it has perfect compatibility with the Wii. And if Nintendo had just not been lazy and said, we don't want people playing 2 generations of games on one system, or 3 generations, then they could have just enabled straight up disc play on the Wii U.
Yeah. I think the problem is that most of the GameCube Mario games were better than the Wii versions. So that's...
Yeah, I mean, Mario Kart Wii was really fun, but so was Double Dash.
Double Dash is better.
Yeah, well, Mario Kart Wii is a lot of fun, but it seems so like watered down.
Yeah, it's compared to Double Dash.
It's like Mario Kart for casuals. The Wii version is Mario Kart for casuals.
Yeah, that's my point. It's like it's almost an indictment when you have to say that you're trying to go back to the GameCube version.
The only and you get mail. That's all I'm saying is like if you know how to hack systems, the Wii U is the ultimate Nintendo console because it has so much emulation capabilities.
But the price is so high now.
You can get games on there that you could not get on any system.
Well, so I just wouldn't recommend it in general, personally.
Unless you're going to go that route.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that's like the one odd case for the Wii.
Yeah. But I'm saying like if you're looking at it purely for what you can't get from anything else, like maybe legacy that's not like ridiculous legacy where you're like a collector would be PS3.
Yeah.
That would probably be the go-to just because it is the only one plagued with that backwards compatibility issue that you will never get to play it on another console.
And if you're going to get a PS3, now is the time to do it because you can still get access to the DLC if you want it.
Right.
This is like the last year where I can recommend go get a PS3,
especially for Infamous. Let's just be honest. The original Infamous games are amazing. So if you want to play those, there's only one place to play them. Sadly,
which might be the first year where I would say an Xbox 360 is a bad choice.
It might be
because they removed. For example, Halo. You could play multiplayer Halo all the way up until this year.
You can still play it local. I mean, like on someone else's connection, like peer to peer.
Oh,
correct. But I'm saying like, there's no matchmaking anymore. Like the bulk of the fun for me, the 360 was the last console where I can honestly say multiplayer mattered to me.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you on that.
And families that made the 360 though, multiplayer.
It really did.
Made it so.
But the thing is, if you had a group of friends, you can still do it. So
I mean, if you want to do party shooter games, the 360 is like your best.
But for kids, we're looking at this for kids, right?
Well, no, at this point, we're just saying
for yourselves.
This is just general gamer audience.
Oh, okay.
Okay. At this
gamer
point,
audience. Yeah.
Okay. Something we haven't considered yet is all-in-one systems. So, like, Will, I know you have one, the SNES Classic. I've got the PlayStation Classic.
I was like, what the heck are you talking about?
Yes, there are plenty of classic Genesis and Sega type consoles. I wouldn't, unless you're buying this for a uber Sega fan, I don't see any value in getting any of the Sega minis.
No, because you can just get it on the Switch now.
Yeah. And then as far as the PlayStation Classic, the only value in the PlayStation Classic is hacking it and putting the actual games you want to play.
There is no reason to buy that freaking thing.
I have one. I never use it. I've considered selling it so many times, but it's not even worth selling. You just throw it away. So I just keep it because I'm not going to throw it away.
It's a door stop.
You know, I still have every single one of my PlayStations. So
yeah, but your PS3 doesn't work, does it?
No, I have two.
Oh, you have
one
two.
That doesn't work, and the replacement I had to buy.
That's awesome. Okay.
Now, as far as the SNES Classic and the NES Classic, those are more of a toss-up. Because if you don't have a Switch and you're getting it for a nostalgic gamer, that might be worth it.
Yep.
If you're whoever it is has a Switch, just get them the live service, the Nintendo Switch Online, because there's very few games missing from that service that are not on.
And also, at least for what is this Super Mario Brothers? Is that the one that's on? No, Super Mario World. Super Mario World and Donkey Kong Country, the first one. At the very least, those two games, the latency is different than with the Switch Mini, or sorry, the SNES Mini.
Better or worse?
It's better. I can definitely control the characters better. Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Interesting.
Yeah, like I blew through those games when I played it on the Switch versus the SNES. So,
speaking of the Switch and stuff, so as far as all-in-one console, I just don't think there's any value there unless something's super nostalgic and does not own a Switch. Like in reality, like there's very few reasons to buy one of those for anybody else. Now, accessories though. One accessory we haven't covered, cases. If you get anybody a Switch, get them a case.
Yep. I have one.
No question. I've got cases for every console I own. Vita, case. Steam Deck, case. Switch, case.
Just get
the case. If it's a portable
box,
system, get them a case.
They made that box version for the Switch that was pretty nice. That lets you transport the dock and everything in a nice little compact.
I didn't realize that was a thing.
Yeah, I bought one right away. That's it was. I don't know if they stopped selling them, but they sold the one that was like a little briefcase, and it was pretty nice.
I just have like a generic, like the one play or whatever you buy from GameStop works fine.
Yeah, I mean most generic cases are going to be fine. Unless you're buying like a $5 case. And, then you might have some questions.
I actually would not recommend the one I have now that I think about it. So it's mostly black and it has a red zipper lining. Right. The reason why I don't recommend it is because the two strings, I guess, or the elastic bands that hold the Switch in there, it's really hard to get over the actual joysticks. And it stresses me out that I'm going to break those things every time I put it in there.
See, mine doesn't even have any bands or anything. They all so you open it up, so like a laptop kind of thing. And you just stick them into I guess it has cutouts for where.
Oh, like a form fit. Okay.
Yeah, it's a form fit. So you just kind of put it in where it's supposed to go, and then you close it, and then.
This is the one that I have,
nice.
But I'm gonna get a new one. The Orsley. It's like a lot like the GameStop one you're probably talking about. Well,
yeah, it's exactly the same idea. Yeah.
Or I think they actually paid for Orsley to make the GameStop one.
Mine is if you look at go to the right from there. One more. You see the one in the back? One? No, you see the thing in the back?
The big box.
It looks like the big box. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen those are pretty nice because doesn't it slide in?
It's scroll down. It might be up here. No, you gotta go further.
I know what kind of thing you're talking about.
Yeah, it's hard to describe. It's like it's vertical. You keep it in the dock and everything. You like actually put it in the dock.
All right, I'm just gonna type in big box Nintendo Switch case. But I was gonna say I am gonna be swapping out my Orsley case for Butterfox.
Is that one right in the? Yeah, it's one of those. It's actually the one to the left, the Game Traveler one. Yeah. It comes with like little cases.
$40, not bad.
It comes with little cases for your games and everything. Yeah, so you can see it down below. They've revamped it since I purchased it. If you go down to the right, it's like in the middle. One more.
That one?
No, one more.
That one. Oh,
mine's like that right there.
Oh, okay.
So they've added the holders for the games on the top of the case now. They didn't have that. They had little pouches that came with it. So and then like the little plastic cases to put the games in.
You mean you didn't want the Mario lunchbox style one?
Yeah, no. But yeah, I highly recommend that style of a case. It's pretty solid. It's a very good form factor. It lets you fit two sets of controllers in there easily enough. It's pretty good.
There's another case called the Butterfox. It's a really weird name. A Butterfox Nintendo Switch case for the Hori Split Pad Pro. So if you get like the specific, you get the specific kind of situation that I have, where you have the Split Pad Pro. They made a case that actually fits around the Split Pad Pro, so you don't have to remove them from each other.
Yeah,
it actually fits in there.
You love to get these peripherals that treat the console like it's a broken console that needs to be completely revamped.
I just like a full real controller.
Says the person who loves the Vita.
I do.
More than anything.
It is really funny.
I don't know. Whatever. I mean, I also had the grip for the Vita too.
I know, which is why we've had arguments about it being a completely broken system.
Listen, I don't think it's broken. I just like it better with the grip.
No, it's the fact that Sony released a broken system. That's the problem.
You say that, I don't.
I'm a Sony fan, but like I can't get over how they.
You said you kept every Sony console ever.
Except for the Vita. Well, it's not a TV console; it's a portable.
I would say Will's kept all of his Sony consoles, but he gave me his PSP. So
yes, I did.
Long time.
I don't regret that decision.
You're still just salty I didn't give you my games.
I don't think we even actually knew each other when you sold your Vita.
No, I don't think. No,
I think you sold it before we met each other.
Did I?
I think you did.
I'm not sure actually.
Ryan still got his Vita.
Does he?
Yeah, him and I both. We got the same grip and the same model.
Hey Chris, out of curiosity, do you ever play that PSP?
Yeah, I do. Because I actually have a reason. What?
Will's just like, can I get it back for a trade?
No. I don't
want it back.
I literally I was curious if you played it is all.
No, I'm saying you want it back to do a trade.
Actually, the most recent thing that I've been playing on it is they released the translation patch for Persona 2 Eternal Punishment PSP edition.
Persona,
of course,
man.
Persona.
That's the only way to actually play it, unless you want to emulate it on your computer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm using. I actually ripped from my UMD from my Japanese copy of it, and then patched that copy, and then I'm playing that copy of the UMD on the PSP you gave me.
Yeah, well, I'm packing up my mom's house soon, so I mean, I might actually find those two missing games finally.
The ones that were not in the case that you gave me.
Yeah, like which one? You're missing Jack and Daxter, and I also had King Kong. So
yeah,
maybe you'll get those.
Hey, if you ever want I know we've talked about it, but if I ever end up getting a PSP that can output to a TV, I probably will give you your old PSP back if you want to.
Sell it. I don't fucking want that thing.
The PSP is an awesome system. Honestly, if you're going to get your kids a portable system for emulation purposes, the PSP is amazing. You can put like emulators for everything up through the N64.
Nah, man, that one joystick thing sucks.
You don't need more than one joystick for an N64, Will.
I mean, that's fair, but I'd rather just have the N64 or get a Switch and play those games on there.
The last accessory I want to go through, if you happen to be married to or hang out with somebody you're going to give a gift to who is a retro gamer, there are flash cards for almost every console you can think of. So if they've got the NES, the SNES, the N64.
Are you talking about the Evercade?
No, although that's a good. Damn it! I should have brought that up earlier. No, EverDrive. EverDrive. So there's EverDrives for almost every retro system you can think of, and it's as simple as putting ROMs that you own, legal things that you own that you've backed up. Everybody owns legal backups of their own games, right?
Of course.
You back those up, and then you can transfer them right from your computer to an SD card that fits right into the game cartridge, and boom, you can play backed up versions of every game you own. They're really nice if you can get your hands on one. The SNES ones that are like the ones you really want, which is the FX Pack Pro, will run you at least $200 though. But that's about the same price as 6 SNES games. So 6 SNES games, one cart that holds several hundred. Which one do you want?
I think we've hit everything.
Well, Evercade, that's one thing we should talk about real quick.
Oh, one more thing is the Arcade 1-Up. I highly recommend that. Those things are cool.
Did you get one? Or
no, but I'm going to.
They're pretty cool. Evercade, that's something that you brought up on accident since you were actually at the EverDrive. Evercade is a super cool thing for retro collectors because it's a little portable, and there's an Evercade VS, which is a home console, and every cart is like $20, and they come with 18 games per cart. So if they like old school 2D games, or even some 3D, I think, I'm not sure 100% if they have 3D, but I think there's a few. If you like indie, retro, side scroller, beat 'em ups, any of those kinds of games, the Evercade is super cheap. $100, comes with multiple cartridges full of games. It's totally worth it. I've never heard anybody who bought this complain about it ever.
You just have to be in those kind of games, but if you are, this is a great system.
Yeah, if you like anything, if you're a retro gamer, you like retro stuff more than modern stuff. And this does get indie games. They've actually had their first natively produced or natively ported or produced, I don't know which, to the system. But it's getting more games every day, like collections of games. And Television, Atari, ColecoVision, all these different older companies are releasing their games on this system. So instead of getting your spouse, kid, whatever, who's into this stuff, one old console and several games, you can get them 18 games on one cartridge and a brand new system with a nice screen. Although I think they just delayed it. There is a new version of this coming out called the EXP, and it ships with 18 Capcom games on it. And it looks way nicer. But yeah, Evercade, great option. Something that I always forget about until I see somebody post a video about it. I'm like, ooh, that looks nice. So, yep. Anything else you guys want to add? What's the worst gift you've ever been given? Or maybe not worst. What's the stupidest thing you bought around the holidays or been given around the holidays that you're like, wow, I made a mistake, or whoever bought this for me made a mistake? That way you don't have to shame whoever it was. You can just say you bought it.
Halo 5.
Clothes.
Halo 5. What'd you say, Andrew?
Clothes.
Clothes for a gamer. Yeah, don't get gamer clothes.
I love clothes, even if they don't fit.
Even if they don't
didn't fit.
I'm an old soul now, man. Like that's great. Man. That gets me excited.
Okay, but I'm still kind of like when I'm like 16, getting clothes that don't fit. That's
yeah.
Here's a mistake that you shouldn't make. If you are a gamer that will probably be receiving gifts for the holidays, wait till after the holidays to buy the games you didn't get, because there's a good chance you might buy something that somebody else already bought you.
That's also true.
And those games can wait. Those pre-order bonuses, you can live without them.
They suck.
And somebody somewhere will be willing to sell you those pre-order bonuses in the future. Unless it's the Halo Edition Xbox Series X that Will and I have fought like mad to find and never did find.
All those freaking anniversary items, man. It burns me to think about it.
Phil Spencer, in that particular situation, you get the You Suck award.
Yeah, there's two things I want from Xbox, okay? Other than more games, obviously. There's one, release more freaking Series X's that are the Halo Edition. And then
those
two,
are so nice.
I want a freaking Sea of Thieves controller. Why the hell did they discontinue that?
They had one?
Yes, and it's freaking awesome. It is the best controller they've made. And it's so frustrating to me. That
Anybody's looking to get Will a gift this year.
Oh, no, you can't find it. If it's on eBay, it's
that looks amazing.
Oh, and it glows in the dark, man. It is so cool.
Wow. It's even got like a little gold. It's got like a little gold trigger on it. Even that is super cool. When did that come out?
With the game.
Oh, back then.
Yeah. If you go on eBay, they're like $1,000. It's ridiculous.
Well, if I ever see one in the wild, Will, and it's not $1,000,
if it's like $100, I'll take it. Just buy it.
Oh, here you go. Onbuy.com. That seems legit, right?
Yeah, no.
All right. Well, if we haven't hit a particular subject of something you're looking at for the holidays, comment down below and we'll try to answer it quickly on the next podcast. We don't get that many comments. I'm sure we can do a quick Q&A session from this comment section.
Yeah.
But seriously, I hope that we were helpful in the very least. And if not, then, go eat some live krill for all I care. All right. As always, I'm Chris.
I'm Andrew.
And I'm Will.
And we will hopefully see you
on the
next CHRILLCAST. Bye.
Provided you don't die from eating raw krill.